All right, everyone, welcome to today's live stream. I'm your host and founder, Jaden Sterling. Hey, thanks so much for being here with us at Sterling Stock Picker. We're very grateful to all our new recent subscribers. Welcome to our platform. And each week I do a live stream to talk about the markets and give my take on what's happening and what to look for in terms of the economy, on a macro level, but also how it affects us as investors. Also, some opportunities within our software, how to use our software, and which stocks to buy. So tune in each week. I go live Mondays from 12:30 to about 12:45 Mountain Standard Time. Let's go. All right, so we've got earnings coming out this week. We've got, it's a quiet week, right? You've got the U.S. Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. By the way, welcome or enjoy for all those who celebrate. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. I want to say that now because I might forget at the end. We've got Zoom after the close today. It's going to be interesting. They've struggled. This stock has had such a hard time ever since COVID. It ran up to a really high price, and it really hasn't done much since then. But let's take a look at what else. We've got Best Buy before the open tomorrow. We've got some retailers weighing in tomorrow. Dick's Sporting Goods is going to be an interesting play as well. CrowdStrike, too. Remember, their last earnings were just awful, and then they had that outage that was pinned to CrowdStrike. The stock went down, basically almost cut in half. It was just a really bad situation. But yeah, so quiet week, as you can tell. Nothing on Thursday, minimal action on Friday. Typically, look, I've been doing this 35 years. The week of Thanksgiving and other big U.S. holidays like Christmas, the markets are generally up. Wall Street wants to go into the holiday on a euphoric note, and you'll find that trading is generally up and quiet for the week. There will be very little volume that trades this week. So just, kind of keep that in mind. All right. The reason I show this website, this Daily Job Cuts, the reason I show it is because, as you can see, companies that are announcing layoffs, that is a big cash saving item for a company. I mean, it's awful for the employees. Don't get me wrong. I feel for those employees. It's just a terrible situation, or not. I don't know. I guess it depends on the company and the employee. But what ends up happening with these layoffs is once they're announced, the stock, for the most part, gets an uptick because it's assumed and built in that the company is going to start saving all that money from the layoffs. And also, if you ever see announcements, so the layoffs are on the left side column here, closings are on the right side. And if you ever see like companies closing retail locations, that's another huge cost savings to that company. And it's generally looked at in a favorable light. So what I'm seeing here after watching this for the last few years, I'm seeing a big shift from layoffs to closings, like actual closing of the business. Look, November 24th, Gate Gourmet, probably sounds like an airline company, had a layoff, but Steady Hand Beer Company in Atlanta closed. But the 23rd, no layoffs announced, but 5 closings announced. So we're starting to see this trend from layoffs to just outright closing of businesses. And that's always tricky in terms of a healthy economy, isn't it? But yet, we're told on a repetitive, consistent basis how healthy our economy is. So we're seeing a huge divergence from reality and what we're being told, right? We're being told, hey, everything's great. just don't look over here, right? Don't look too closely at the numbers when we start to announce job postings, job creation, versus unemployment and employment numbers. So we're going to see some interesting times ahead here, I think. And as investors, and I'll tell you something even more eye-opening. Last week, the headline was Williams Sonoma posted earnings last week. So did Target. Target missed their earnings, and Williams Sonoma blew away their earnings. And to me, that told me that is the indicator, the real truth of the economy. Target is geared more toward lower mid-income folks. Williams Sonoma, high-end kitchen store, really geared toward higher income folks. And that's the big shift that we're seeing, is a lot more of these companies that market and provide products in the upper level, let's call it the upper level space, are going to continue to do very, very well. So, whether you're a buyer of Williams Sonoma here or companies like that, I think it's really prudent to start looking at investing in companies that are focused more toward the higher end space. And they're not easy to find because so many of those companies that are in that space are privately held. So just very difficult to find. But, you just do your best to do your homework. You can even ask Finley, to make some suggestions for you. I also want to talk about, last week I talked about Elf Beauty. The stock had been beaten down, but last week was even worse. Mid-week last week, Elf, sorry, I don't want to make you seasick. Just look away from the screen as I scroll down to the news here. Here it is. Elf Beauty stock slides after Muddy Waters says it had shorted its shares. So you have another investment firm out there called Muddy Waters, kind of like the Hindenburg did with Supermicro. So Muddy Waters is basically saying, there's some shenanigans going on with their reporting at the border. And I listened to the CEO of Elf Thursday night. He came on and I thought he did a great job in setting the record straight. He said, if they just reached out to us and said, hey, what's going on over there with not disclosing the product at the border, he said, I would have told them that that's a strategic move that many companies engage in because we don't want that information leaked to our competitors. And, very fair response, very clear, but, the attack was sharp and it was down $15 midweek last week. I think it was last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, it was Thursday, down $15. And I looked at it and I was like, what is going on with this stock, right? Like, why is it getting killed? And then I read more, and it's like this Muddy Waters report that all of it was false. The CEO came on and clarified all of the information. So I'm going to stand behind my pick on Elf Beauty. They're making all the right moves. They're in all the right places. Their international expansion is up huge into Germany, 1,200 locations, retail locations, all paid through euros. So when that money is converted into US dollars, they'll get an uptick as well. So anyway, I'm just standing behind that. I think it's going to be do very, very well. The other stock I want to talk about, Supermicro, this stock took it on the chin a week and a half ago. I mean, just a debacle. Let's look at the chart. And I talked about this last Monday, so if you want to go back into November 18th's call, you'll see what I mentioned about Supermicro. I wasn't worried or concerned when it dipped down here. They had challenges around staying listed on the exchanges. And, I talked about that many companies at times are faced with some type of accounting measure. Their accountants, Ernst& and Young, their auditors quit on them. And then that was looked at as, oh, there must be some foul play there. But you know what? They were the same auditors for NVIDIA, and they quit on NVIDIA too. And the stock didn't skip a beat. NVIDIA, that is. But Supermicro took it on the chin. So nice rebound here. It's crossed through the short-term averages. That's what we call threading. Great move. You want to see that stock moving through and above the averages and holding that. Well, it certainly did, because now it's sitting right at the cusp of this SMA 50. And once that stock moves above that, that is called a golden cross. And from a technical perspective, the sky's the limit from there. It's just going to keep going higher and higher. So I think we're sitting in a good position with Supermicro. I think it's going to continue to do just fine. And I hope you all have a fantastic week. Again, for those who celebrate, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Careful of the weather out there. I hear that 79 million Americans are going to be traveling for the holidays. And apparently the weather is just going to be awful. So be careful out there. And thanks again to all of those who are new to our platform. I'm honored that you're here, and I look forward to working